because I do want to actually show off the new intro that I didn't get to show off because of stupidity last time. Yeah, so this is the intro that it's supposed to change to if you have a save with the various flags set for having beat the final boss. You'll notice that I'm saying this is new despite having beat the final boss last time. This is the reason why that door in the Cave Chronicle didn't work. I do have a few things to show off in Cave Chronicle and otherwise. I want to get all of the chests, but before that, since there's not going to be an easy way to get back here, and because I'm running this in the debug version, I will show off what I have also done, which is grab this, which isn't really that important, and this, and in the actual file that I'll get to, we've done that. Now, yes, I could just grab that weapon as well, but I wanted to show off what that ability is so it doesn't come as a surprise. We've still not done the process, the task associated with getting that weapon. The other file is actually set up right before that. And the reason for everyone being such a high level is actually twofold. One of it is, well, I wanted an easier time going through everything. The other one is just very simply, we needed to get Camille up to 50 for her. I'm drawing a blank on the word. For her glossary entry. Speaking of which, I should probably actually have my my notes open. And here I'm looking to add about 100, maybe a little bit more than 100 health to everybody, and I think the way I'm going to do that is a goop and meat on everybody. If I can find where the hell the goop is. Well, actually, no. I'm just gonna cheat. Oh, I forgot to save after that. It really doesn't matter. I'm not gonna be using it on the trip down anyway. One of the things that the debug mode has, and I could use this to get through this from the other side, is it allows you to bypass this damage for the most part. Doesn't let us get past losing half the bottles. I thought I was a little bit further down. I'm going to be having a little bit of trouble with the radius for the various moves for enemies because I'm playing it in a different size than I have been. But there's nothing here we still need to grab, so... As with before, I do want to occasionally make use of these. The regular enemies are fantastic for getting your health back. Especially since we really just need to have a little bit of luck, and we can kill them before they move. Oh. That was interesting. And the first item I missed is actually a ways into this. I did a pretty good job for the first while. Well, that's really not good. Sit here, let regen happen a little bit. And then grab another one. We should be still a little bit down on SP, but we should be fine HP wise. And I think because we don't have multiple, well, it really depends upon how lucky we're getting with crits on that. This is the first item we can pick up. Now, you might notice there's not as much variance in the gear levels for people as there were before. That is, again, me blatantly cheating. That's just something I changed in the file for the debug version. It actually doesn't even require having a debug or cheat version. So that's not one level, that's all of the levels. Well, that's not good. But that's the only one I've missed until the dagger. for the that cathedral room that I couldn't get past. Well, that's not true. The cathedral room that I couldn't kill everything in and get past. Now, we obviously have a shit ton of money, and I meant to be using some of that to do the chimney. But that is why I will be saving in a different spot when I make use of this. Oh, I don't want to save here. These other ones are free to save in. And yeah, that one didn't open before. Actually, I can show it off because I have a equally cheaty thing set for it. And the reason you do not want to use the return if you're on a save file where it's actually set is because you can just go through. Now, you did hear the door close, so when you walk up to it and press the action button, if we can ever get back to it, it doesn't do anything. Or it's not supposed to do anything. I have also cheated that. Now, this area sucks, so I'm going to cheat through it as much as possible. This area, as well as the area with orcs, the Lord of the Rings area, are miserable. And aside from the cathedral, I actually didn't miss anything here, surprisingly. So I could have used that return and gone through the backwards drop. Interestingly, one advantage of that 400 point drop from the snow area is that you don't lose any bottles. Which I will need to show off. Again, by cheating, not by actually legitimately getting the HP, because that's... I have the stuff for it. I think I just need to level up the goops. I don't think it's really worth it. Now the problem I had here was that I was letting too large of an encounter get to us. Now, one potential issue here, and the reason that I believe we actually had so much healing happening there, is I believe every female character in the enemy group can potentially heal. And we got all three of them. Now, the next encounter will be a little bit easier. I'm actually just going to take a shortcut here and heal up their SP. Okay, correction. I don't think these two. I don't think Daisy or Violet can heal. Of course, they are just a little bit too far apart. Now that provides us the dagger, which it's a pretty good weapon. It provides, I mean, obviously once that's leveled up, it's going to be a fair amount of attack. But it's the weapon of choice for Randolph. Sure, his agility's only, okay, not great. But he has Sporadic Guard. He has Recover SP when defending. Actually, the Sporadic Guard has nothing to do with that. The Recover SP when defending does. Now when he defends, he can recover. I think it defaults to 9. I think it's just a straight round down, but it's 10%. He can get 9 or 18 or 27 SP recovered. I mean, 70% of the time, that's, enough SP for Dragon Slayer. And then there's this. This area sucks. There's no two ways about it. I am going to show off one thing, because we are at a sufficiently high level to do it. Just for the record, both of those were able to attack with the avoid encounters thing on. It does not work. Super fantastic. Oh, I'm going to show off another trick there. This area does contain... I don't know why the... I think that's the dagger that has a slightly different attack noise. What I was going to say is I don't know why the avoid encounters thing works so poorly here. But the first of the actual things I need to grab here is right past the Balrog. Wait. Is that? No, I missed it already. There was one on the prior screen, and I again missed it. I'm just going to use the run sheet for this, but it's right here. And the second is actually with the big ol' scorpion. I was thinking it was with the Balrog, but the Balrog, of course, does not respond. The scorpion does. I don't know why the scorpion does, though. That's right, that path off to the right there is a trap. this is the scorpion I was talking about. I'm not walking too far forward because this is where the item is. And of course the instant death works first time. So that is 4 of the items that I missed. The final ones are all in the area with Mordor, which I think this is. Yeah. A glass fragment. Our final glass fragment. We have enough for another bottle. Really not concerned with that. Oh, I was incorrect. So now we have 2 glass fragments. Now I could take the easy way out of here, but that doesn't show off something. That does not show off the final stupid little Lord of the Rings reference. Because we can fight Sauron. It is incredibly variable in how difficult it is. But we need to get to it first. And yeah, I'm pretty blatantly cheating here. Oh, it's on the top anyway. And I think we have one more area to progress through before the differences and new enemies come up. I don't know why those have a much larger vertical sight line than horizontal. Like, I could look into it, definitely, but I'm not real sure that there is an answer in part of the files that I would see. Now that town is being attacked. Well, that's basically the worst case scenario for that. For various reasons, even were I to be going back there on this file. I'm not too concerned about our potion usage. Wow, we're getting shitty luck here. I mean, admittedly, Camille has not crit. But, Camille not critting makes these fights very difficult. I do want to avoid picking up more than 2 of the regular orcs. In the version where I was doing it for actual gameplay, I'd forgotten that when you walk up to the red enemy and get into combat, that it summons additional orcs. So I had all of them in combat, and Eretz was only healing ever. Now I did remember that, the red enemy is a lot more dangerous, so he was not in the battle, but that one ended up being very close, even with a dedicated healer. So, you can see that that's not an orc. And this is, well, the difficulty is highly variable. We can't instantly kill even the basic orcs, which I believe are what he summons. So if Sharky summons an orc every turn, it's very dangerous. But he didn't, so it really wasn't anything special. Now the biter is also nothing special. It provides 3-hit combo, which is 36 SP for 3 hits that each do less than a normal hit. It sucks. But that's all I wanted to show off there. And since the chimney is the last of the regular items, it's how you get to that plateau up on top of the nest. With a skill up and a glass fragment. Okay, so with the 2 from below, we still have 2 extra glass fragments. I'll show off that recipe. I can even cheat to make it. Now, it's what the rat tail from the diseased rat goes into. And it increases agility. That's not what we're here for. This is what we're here for. Now, of course, this is still a long walk to the return one. We're going to bypass that. Now, this save should worry you. Let's test your metal. So this isn't Zalfielawanto as he is currently. This is fighting the idea of Zalfielawanto. Now, notable, the names don't change here. I'll check Eretz, but I don't think his name changes either. Yeah. That is just for the battle against the book. He still gets his HP, his SP, his new spells. Now, keep in mind, Randolph is the only one of us that has his... or that has a stagger resist gear on. Now, Perfect Hero is very difficult to activate. We might... well, no mind about it. We'll probably have Shout Up a fair amount, but... Perfect Hero is rough. This is actually another good time to be rocking the Rat Slayer. We can have him use Hero Supplement. Bump his stats way up. Okay, well... So, with that slightly higher set of stats, he does a fair bit of damage. I think Camille goes first. Unfortunately, even being in perfect status does not protect you from that. Also note that it increased her SP bar kinda ridiculously. Well, we're looking like we're not going to get much out of perfect status. Oh, that's his own version of Hero Supplement. That's not good. And we have Alma, who, well, this is one of the things that made me think that Alma Moon is not the mole is Alma. Rather, the mole is Milalanus. Now we want to get rid of them quick. Now Alma's not that big of a deal, but I believe she has stagger in her moveset, so that's why I'm going after her first. So, yeah. I was curious as to what the blinking was, but that's an attack down on Eretz. So this is something that would be a lot more dangerous in a fight with the book. Not having skills would be huge there. Here, though, it's... I don't know. Just not that big of a deal. I mean, it hurts Randolph to not have skills. I don't know if this is removable by... yeah, it's removable by energy restore, so... Okay. We are getting into the point of... Zelfie being a tremendous dick. So, I'm gonna focus on getting Mole down first. Of course, we're getting poor luck with crits, so... I don't know why I'm... And now, it's a one-on-one battle. It's not that easy, though. He has a final trick up his sleeve. It'll be used, I believe, around 20%-ish health. Oops. As far as I recall, there isn't anything that provides resistance to Skillbind. Ultimately, your best defense against Skillbind is just that it doesn't last that long. So he is now in perfect status. Now keep in mind momentarily how much stronger Camille was with perfect status. Also, this is something that actually normally comes up a bit earlier. Yeah, now he's back to half health. That's... That ability that he used sets him up to be able to use a big attack. But you can't just sit on it, because you don't know how long it's going to be until he uses it. Which makes it real rough. Oh, that went off before. Damn it. No, I'm gonna be attacking with her. Although if Eretz gets hit with a full-size attack again, that will just kill him. Okay, so another Luna is prepped. Annoying, but not the worst. I was needing to use a energy restore on Randolph pretty soon anyway. But ultimately a lot like fight against the book, or the final stage of the book. This is more about, do you have the endurance to last through this? Did I miss how much HP he had? Because ultimately, Zelfie doesn't have that much HP. And again, that sets a flag. Now, unfortunately, I don't know which one it was set in. Zelfie Elewanto, a match for 1,000 men. He was a politician who created a fair and just government to protect the people, and a general unrivaled in both strength in numbers and tactical wisdom. He brought peace to our land, which was once wrought with war. There never was, and probably never will be, another man like Zelfie Elewanto. We should be thankful that we were born during this era. We were able to see a true hero with our own eyes. May our country prosper for 1,000 years. So, that is a book that I knew about. I also completely forgot about it every time I ran into it post Kumo leaving. Because you can't read it until Kumo leaves, for some reason. I guess that's the book that Kumo is reading when he's standing there. But that book had been available to us the entire time. Well, not the entire time. Since Kumo left. Now that unlocks the Zelfie Elewanto glossary entry. Now, I'm not 100% certain this worked. If it didn't, I can cheat to show what the reward is. Or I can load up the other file. See if maybe that's the one that got the flag. God damn it. This is the one that got the flag. This is the same problem I ran into before. Also, interestingly, if you come through this and only... Oh, I didn't know that lets you return. If you come through that and only through that, you can Well, actually, that makes a lot of sense as to why you can't return to the Cave Chronicle using that, because that would be a very easy way to get to the center point. Okay. Wait, no, that's correct. So, again, we have Zelfie in the glossary. I believe even if we had managed to hit for 1,000 damage, it would not have shown up there. I think it's the same effect as the final battle. Defeated the hero. And your reward is Star Collar. Now, Star Collar is the strongest sword by a lot. Now, keep in mind, Longsword is once buffed, once at level 3, providing 168 attack power. Star Collar provides 160 at level 1. The problem with Star Collar, the only problem with Star Collar as far as I'm concerned, is there's nothing left to use it on. Also, I'd like to note, one of the things that is kinda neat with this is if you have Camille using Star Collar and Randolph using Dagger, that's two people using weapons that are implicitly via the story linked to Zelfie. Now, there's also reason to believe that Randolph is related to Zelfie, personally. I'll get into that in a moment. I didn't notice. What the hell did I use all the gold on? Oh, that's right. That's what I used the gold on. Now, in this, I never showed off. Well, I did show these off. I did talk through them. But I never showed off the glossary entries they unlocked. Again, I've actually never stated the glossary entries at all this time. So this is talking about, interpretation and, are some of these interpretations really okay? But we can actually just skip through that. I don't know why I was not holding control. And this is talking about the final. And it leaves off on a cliffhanger. Which is only finished if you finish the game. Now here we have Randolph listed twice. There was a bug with the translated version for a long time where you could either get that Randolph or the player character Randolph. You could not get both. I was actually trying to get the Annihilation record. Overall, that's not too bad. I don't know what the unknown area there is. It would have been... Oh, did I die to fall damage? Did I die showing that one off? I think that has to be it. So yeah, this includes all of the various deaths. I actually pretty miraculously never got killed while prepping things or preparing to show things off. Normally I didn't have to even do the cheats. But let's get that glossary open, if I can find how to spell glossary. Now, the first of these is the Demon King Chronicle. And actually let's open the glossary, because I believe it goes left, right to down. Demon King Chronicle, a story with no ending, written by Harold Deaster, 3 chapters in total. And we now know that there was actually a 4th chapter intended where Harold was the Demon King. The island. The setting for this story. It's not the official name, and hiding the name like this is a habit of the island residents. The continent is the birthplace of the island residents, at the very least most of them. It's not the official name, and hiding the name like this is also a habit of the island residents. Flowers. Well, due to historical reasons, they're not often found on the continent. These rare flowers miraculously bloom on the island. And it's not 100% certain which one it is. It could be the camellia or it could be the amaryllis. Again, both of them could be related to Camille's Japanese name. I'm kind of leaning towards the camellia just because the game hasn't overused 2 things being one. I mean, obviously there's the Randolph and Randolph in the English version. But that was Randolph and Rudolph in the Japanese. Natives, people who migrated some time ago from the continent. This way of addressing them is not politically correct, as their culture is just as advanced. They're known as people who love peace and stories. Which also doesn't sound, particularly politically correct. So Willstones, strange parasites that live on people's backs. They can store the host's memories and transfer these memories to the next host. So the fact that, Ares and Harold and Eretz were willing to use these is kind of creepy. I mean, consider that part of the Cave Chronicle that had a whole bunch of them. That area is just creepy as hell, and I still need to show that off. Camille, this story's main character. She carries the yellow willstone, so it's her destiny to guide the story to its ending. Randolph. A certain old man beat his mother to death after she gave birth to him, and ordered a servant to get rid of the baby. The reason he didn't take care of the baby himself is because he was afraid of it. The child was taken in by a man named Flodnar. He was a poor and homeless man, but since he found the child, he had no choice but to raise it. Some years later, Flodnar read the Demon King Chronicle and named him after the fictitious dragon slayer. He hoped he could raise him to be healthy and strong. After Flodnar died, Randolph lived on the island for 8 years. In order to live up the expectations of the parent that raised him, he went to slay the imaginary beast, the white dragon. By the way, what kind of creatures are dragons? I'm pretty sure they spit something from their mouth at least. Which helps explain why the white dragon was so weird looking. Neither Randolph nor Flodnar knew what a dragon was supposed to look like. Not in the traditional European sense anyway. Nana Elewanto. She came to this island to overcome the curse of her grandfather. She always cried after getting scolded by her father, and Grandpa Zell comforted her. After her father died of illness, she thought of Grandpa Zell as her father. As long as she holds these memories in her heart, her trial will not come to an end. She's using a fake name, as it would cause problems if her lineage were revealed. So the Nana may not be her actual name, but of course including her last name kind of makes it obvious. I don't know, maybe Elewanto's not her actual last name either. It's actually kind of tough to tell. And the reason that the old man beating Randolph's mother to death relates Randolph to Nana, and thus to Zelfie, is going back to one of Nana's books, where it stated the brother that she had wished for didn't come, or had never come, or wasn't, something of the sort. That is the connection there. There's also, I'm not set up for it, but I'll bring it up in a second. Pictures in the art and media collection that used to not be free, but it is now free. This. It's not actually being shown on screen yet. This. I need to scale that. This picture is called Siblings. Now, the man in the wheelchair is tough to say. Could be any of a handful of people. Personally, my opinion on it is that it's the leader of the revolution that Nana knew as a child. Joel. It actually did give a name to him. Given that it gave a name to Joel, I am inclined to believe this is him. Now there are also a few other pictures, several of which are very good. At least one of which I'm not going to be able to show very easily. This is Camille handing her red book, the one that she didn't throw away. Let's get this saved real quick so I can come back to it. The one that she didn't throw away. Should probably actually be showing the part where the blue book goes down the river. Up at the top there. To somebody who either has a copy of the Demon King Chronicle or recovered the copy that Camille threw in the river. Either one's possible. Doesn't really matter which one it is. There are a few others, though. This one, it really seems like it's just to kind of give a bit of extra character to Hiku Kimu. And this one I'm not sure of. Obviously that's Randolph. But who's the old man? Could it be Zelfie? Well, maybe. Could it be Joel? Also possible. I mean, it's kind of tough to tell, but the person who is being rescued, presumably, does have their hands in manacles. It's... I don't know. And I haven't finished with the glossary yet anyway. I still need to go back and finish that. And this is all of the characters. Plus one. Parrots. Oh, oops. Oopsie. Hold up. Why isn't that... Ah, okay. I'm gonna need to show off some of these again. This is all of the characters. And of course, it's I believe it's called the Meeting of Past and Present, or Past and Future, something of the sort. And I don't think I got the full picture for some of these before. I think they ended up being cut off. And there's also one that I believe is Laylaria that I don't understand, truth be told. And then there's the final one. The one that is really, really difficult to actually get on screen here. That would be Camille fighting the mole. But let's get back to the music for the glossary, because I had not yet gone to Hikukumo. His parents were good people. Being good people made them many enemies, and they died as a result. In despair, he'd wandered aimlessly, looking for a place to die when he was approached by a strange person. Without really knowing what happened, Hikukumo was dragged along against his will. Just like that, he became a member of the Criminal Action Plan Committee, with a total membership of 2. A lot of things happened, and for Hikukumo, who had always lived so seriously, the free-spirited Eretz was exactly what he needed in his life. Laylaria was the second daughter of a good family. Her sister, Lululala, did perfect in everything she tried. She did a variety of things under the name the Coward. Most of the residents had already started to guess the truth. The trap set by Aaron just brought the truth out into the open. For a time, the mole was the right-hand man to Zelfi, and he was counted among the true heroes. There was also a time when he trained Eretz as his disciple. This name is a nickname he got on the island. Mole has continued his search for a way to save Zelfi from his madness. After much contemplation and searching, he realized the only solution was to kill him. Mole challenged Zelfi but was instead defeated and lost one of his eyes. Even though he lost some of his passion, he still swears to defeat Zelfi and constantly practices his technique on the wall of a cave. And that's why he was striking the cave and ended up discovering Harold's former location. Aaron's dream was to be a writer, but his talent never bloomed. Now he's researching the Demon King Chronicles on the island. He's hoping his research will pay off, and he'll strike it rich on the continent. To a certain extent, it did pay off. But he's not going to be the one that's remembered for it. Indeed, Camille likely will also not be the one remembered for it. Flodnar was born in a village on the plateau. A tall mountain surrounded his town. For the visitors to the mountain, the blizzard from the intensely cold mountain often steals the warmth from their bodies and their sight from their eyes, and many have died this way. An imaginary monster called the White Dragon was born from the fear the villagers held for the ferocious blizzards, and the story was passed from parent to child over generations. The story of the White Dragon planted fear of the snowy mountains in the heart of the villagers. It began to be used as a way of teaching that stepping onto the snowy mountain meant throwing away your life. However, hearing that story as a child, Flodnar instead grew more interested in the dragon. As Flodnar grew to the age where he no longer believed in dragons, he left the village on an adventure and ventured across the continent. One day, Flodnar found a child on the side of the road, taking it in as his own. For a long time, the boy had no name, but after a certain event, he named him Randolph. Randolph had a weak body as a child, so Flodnar often told him stories of a certain hero. It was the story of a young man defeating a monster lurking high in the mountains. It was a dramatization of the story from his own village. In the original, the dragon ruthlessly killed people, had no discretion at all. After telling the story, Flodnar always said, "Become strong enough that you can defeat the dragon." When Randolph was 8, Flodnar came down with a very terrible cold. With proper nourishment, it could have easily been overcome. However, the continent had fallen on hard times, and someone like Flodnar could barely afford any food. Oh, I was mistaken. It was Randolph that came down with the cold. Flodnar crossed the island and found proper food and nourishment for Randolph. Soon after, Randolph made a quick recovery. He lived on the island for some time, but one day Flodnar suddenly disappeared. After that, Randolph no longer had anyone to depend on. Slowly dying of starvation, his consciousness became hazy. A rat ran right near him, but it took all of Randolph's strength just to follow it with his eyes. At that moment, the sword leaning against the wall fell and struck the rat. Taking that rat in hand and gorging on its meat, Randolph decided that he would survive on the island no matter what. That sword was left to him by Flodnar. Probably should have been doing these as they were coming up. Eretz was a thief, specialized in robbing from the rich. He spent his days filling the pockets of his less fortunate, and of course his own as well. He wasn't really a hero or a villain, he walked a very fine line in that respect. So, Robin Hood, basically. While in port, he had heard rumors regarding a certain book. The rumored book floated here from the southern part of the continent, and was written by an unknown writer named Harold Deester. However, he only completed 3 chapters of the book, so it's still incomplete. Even still, this mysterious book called the Demon King Chronicles was published in small numbers. There were many people who enjoyed theorizing about the work over various questions such as who wrote the story, what purpose, what kind of ending was planned. Eretz was very curious about the book, however it carried a high price tag, so getting his hands on it was not easy. So he reached the only possible conclusion. That's it. I might as well try to get my hands on the original that swept in with the tide. Found out that a particular old man, one of the most famous people on the continent, was the current owner. Eretz. Eretz wasn't even trying to kill Zelfi because it was the right thing to do. He just wanted his fucking book. The book that he probably didn't have. Because that's probably what Nana had. Oh god, Eretz. Because it's very likely that the 3 copies that Aaron stole, and the reason Harold's Willstone reacted to them, was because they're the originals. So Randolph had one, Hiku had one, and Nana had one. Now that is just plot contrivance for story convenience. But it's also explains certain aspects of the story. Harold Deester carried a blue willstone on his back. He died before finishing the Demon King Chronicles, but his memories are stored in the blue willstone. He can't rest in peace until the story reaches its conclusion. Zelfi Alawanto. Though approaching 60 years old, the infamous hero managed to slice the book being stolen by the thief clean in two with a speed that human eyes could not follow. In awe of such amazing technique, the thief fell right where he stood. Even with such amazing power, he could tell that he was about to fall into a normal preachy grandpa mode, so Eretz cut him short with the following claim. This may be the extent of my ability now, but in 19 years, I'll be the one that people call hero, Mr. Great Hero. This was 20 years after Zelfi Alawanto became known as a hero to the people. This is a very famous episode, spread through the continent as a proverb about the importance of keeping your word. Considering how Eretz ended, this is likely a fairly dark comment. Zelfi was pleased to hear such a claim, and promised to meet him again in 19 years. With that, he let the thief go. The thief took one half of the sliced book and quickly ran away. Watching from the corner, Zelfi's granddaughter picked up the other half of the book. Though it was only half as thick as the part the thief held, The 3-year-old girl became very interested in it. Only 3 years after the two promised to meet again, the hero was beset by a strange illness and lost his sanity. There was no one that could stop the murderous rampage of the hero who controlled most of the continent. So, Zelfie likely went, essentially, hero to king to killing everyone, near everyone, because of the illness. And there could be a variety of reasons for that illness, but most likely it's not said because not talking about it is, well, not putting a real reason behind it is a bit more tragic. Randolph, this Randolph being the character, not the player character, but the character in the Demon King Chronicle, was a character created by Harold Deester, modeled after Flodnar. Ritzia was a character created by Harold Deester, modeled after Eretz. Something notable is there are no entries for either Ares or Sarah. I believe even in the actual files for the game. Actually, you know, I can check that real quick. Because it does seem like there should be. I actually have to find the one that's for Camille's room real quick. Okay, I'm not seeing it. No, there is supposed to be one for both Ares and Sarah. Interesting. I don't know how to unlock those. That would explain the additional space at the top and bottom. Or not at the top, but at the bottom. White Dragon was a beast born so that Randolph could fulfill the dream of his father. He uses his attack like poison gas and other attacks which cause poison. Two-headed demon, the barrier in Nana's heart that she wishes to overcome, takes the image of her grandfather, Zelfie. The left head is strict but nice grandfather she trusted and respected from her childhood, while the right head is a grandfather that descended into a demon-like madness as a result of the strange sickness. The left head is the one that still holds power over Nana's heart. Geyser, the whale. Ikukumo has lost many people close to him just because they were good people. This monster takes on the form of the enemy from the second chapter of the Demon King Chronicle, combined with the weak-willed goodness ideal that he wants to overcome. So I don't know how to get the Ares or Sarah glossary entries. But that's everything that I am aware of in Demon King Chronicle. I'm going to get into a quick fight to show off the kind of ridiculous power Starcaller has. I suppose it'll actually end up being 2 fights. I do want to show off what a crit will do. Enemies don't... I guess I need to defend with Randolph. Enemies don't tend to have too high of a variance as far as... yeah, armor goes. Vet 700 was the primary attack. So with hero status or shout up, it's pretty easy to see that that's where the 1000 damage would come from. Starcaller is the strongest weapon, and it's not close. The idea of this ridiculously powerful longsword that Sarah used, sorry, is not even half as strong, ultimately, as the actual physical Starcaller. So it's pretty easy to understand exactly why Zelfie is essentially impossible to kill for so many of these people. That is going to be it for me, though.